Hello! You are watching chapters 31 and 32 of my TearRing Saga Champions of Usna low turn count playthrough. And we'll start with chapter 31, which is the long-awaited triumphant return of Zeeg, who we haven't seen since chapter 19, but sadly he is back as an enemy, specifically as the boss of this chapter, who we have to defeat in order to complete it. Zeeg retains his stats from when we last saw him, and if you'll recall, he was extremely strong at that point, so we're going to have a pretty difficult time dealing with him here. So the strategy that I am using is to warp over both Holmes and Yoda in order to fight him. Holmes is going because Zeeg is holding a silver shield, and that has two uses. So we want to break that before we bring in Yoda to do the actual boss killing. Holmes is going to use the Chukonu for this purpose, just for reliability's sake, because Zeeg has very high avoid, so Holmes isn't perfectly accurate with any of his weapons. Having 4 chances to get at least 2 hits is a lot more reliable than any of my other options here. You'll recall that Zeeg had a number of very strong skills, including Wrath and Nihil, so we really do not want to let Zeeg get off an attack while Wrath is active. And Nihil is preventing me from relying on an Astroproc from Yoda in order to get the kill. So instead we're relying on a critical hit from the Lukud, which has 87 listed crit against Zeeg. So it's surprisingly reliable. Now, one other thing about this map is that in a moment there's going to be a house on screen, and that is the house that we would have to visit to recruit Sierra if we had not recruited her by killing Shigen off earlier on in the game. That's obviously a long way out of the way, so doing it this way has many more advantages than just having Sierra early. Anyway, Yoda got a critical hit and one-hit KO'd Zeeg, and that ends the map in 1 turn. Now, there's one more house on this map, and that is in fact the last secret shop in the game, which sells a wide range of dark tomes. But obviously I don't have any use for those because Sierra isn't in this army, so it's no big loss. Also, at the end of this map, Kate vanishes from our army, and we are going to have to re-recruit her at a future point. So that's enough about chapter 31, let's move on to chapter 32. This map is a vast swamp full of scary enemies like Draco zombies and witches. So if you're trying to play it straight in a more casual playthrough, it is a real pain, and the exercise staff is probably one of your best assets, although it doesn't do much about the witches or the swamp, so the map still ends up being quite a slog. Obviously, I am not going to bother with any of that, and we are going to be warp skipping this map. And what's notable about this map is that this is the first map in Holmes's stretch here where Plum actually saves us a turn. In the last map, we could have relied on a double Lukud crit in order to kill Zeeg, and that would have been fine, although slightly less reliable. But here, we absolutely need to warp both a boss killer and Holmes over to the seize point in order to clear the map. And Plum allows us to do that in 1 single turn rather than 2 turns. There is only 1 available space next to the boss, so this time we're going to be delaying Holmes' warp until after we fight the boss. And speaking of him, he is really weak compared to Zeeg. Yoda now has a 96% listed chance of critical hitting, and that is 99% true crit. So Yoda is really having no problems totally rolling this guy, and he adds insult to injury by proccing Draco as well. And also in the process, he demonstrates that the maximum damage on a single hit in this game is 99. And so now, with the boss dead, there is a space open for Renee to warp Holmes over, ready to seize the map and complete it in 1 turn as well. This part of the game really demonstrates more than any other just how powerful the Warp Staff is, as these are some of the hardest maps in the game to play straight. But Renee allows us to simply skip homes straight past all the enemies while the rest of our units sit around doing their nails or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, that is all for this video, but we are not done with using the Warp Staff to teleport straight past the Cult of Gurxel's defenses, so I'll see you next time for more of that.